Now, fantastic. So, thank you everyone for joining me today for the training on how to develop cognitive dominance to conquer trading discipline. And I really love this topic because when I work with my traders, I have been thinking a lot about what is it that stops them from really achieving their goals. Because I personally believe everybody has what it takes, but they just don't tap into what they have. And so the answer for me became really clear as I was working with some phenomenal high performance traders, and it's clearly what we call cognitive dominance. So for my for many traders, uncertainty rules their decision making process. And the question is, should I take that loss or should I wait a little? Should I take my profits now or should I stay in for a little longer? Should I take this trade or should I wait for more clues? And this level of thinking is what leads to undisciplined behavior. Now, if you're a trader who is impulsive, thoughtless, undisciplined, you simply have an unruly mind, and your mind needs to go to puppy school and get primed for cognitive dominance and conquer discipline. Because without discipline, the only skill you will succeed in is failing. And today we will explore how you can cultivate cognitive dominance and take charge of your trading discipline for good. So the three key areas that we are going to dive into are: why is the trading success so elusive for traders? And I will narrow it down for you guys really in a very simple way. How the top 1% of traders that I have personally been working with use cognitive dominance that helps them to play on that level that they are playing, on that championship level. And this is not just for traders, that's for everyone, for athletes, for business people, for everyone really. And then I'm going to teach you a 4-step process on how you too can condition your mind and you can condition your emotions for superior performance. Then after this training, you will have gained an outstanding level of clarity and certainty to propel you towards creating a powerful trading mindset. It is not that at the end of the session you have that mindset. You have to now go into the field and train it, right? Because after Sunday's presentation, when I did this one the first time, I received an email from someone saying, "Thank you so much. It was an amazing presentation. You gave me lots of food for thought." I'm like, dude, you're missing the point. This is not something to think and ponder about. This is something to take action on. Because if you're applying what you learned today and follow those 4 steps, then you're on the right path to successful trading. Extremely successful traders either learned this at an early age or they trained themselves later on as they matured, as they started to take responsibility, and they trained themselves to deliver without fail. So before we go there though, I need to do my general advice disclaimer. Trading involves the risk of loss. And this presentation is for education purposes only and should not be solely relied upon as a recommendation or invitation to enter into a particular transaction or to apply a particular trading strategy. It is also not intended to be a substitute for professional counseling, therapy, or medical treatment, nor is it intended to diagnose or treat any psychological condition. You should not engage in trading unless you understand the nature of the relevant markets, the rules and application of these rules to the strategies you're trading, the products, and the full extent of your exposure to risk of financial loss. Sorry, guys, even I get bored, but we have to hang in there. The information contained in this presentation has been prepared without taking into account the objectives, financial situations, or needs of any particular client. And because of that, the entity should, before acting on any information, consider the appropriateness of the information, having regard to their personal objectives, financial situation, and needs, and must seek professional advice. By attending this presentation, you do so at your own will, and in doing so, waive liability to any claims against the host, presenter, and any associated organizations and people. So that was the first step of demonstrating cognitive dominance. Really get bored, don't want to read this, but I do it anyway because that's what we professional people do, right? Risk management. So who am I? Just a little bit about me. I don't want to waste too much time on me. I'm an active DEX trader. I have been trading since 2002. Went through all the strategies I could find, all the markets I could find, and eventually settled on what I realized was my strengths, or was suited for my strengths of my behavioral patterns and my personality. I'm also a highly trained professional performance coach, so I don't coach by the seat of my pants because I've done a few trades. I'm actually a trained coach. We do have a diploma in coaching here in Australia. And I do one-on-one coaching. I just started my mindset mastery group for high performance traders. And I'm really excited about this because I see there's a lot of trading groups out there now. That's like the new thing to go. And I love it. I love the camaraderie, and I love how everybody can learn from each other. But I noticed there was nothing like that for mindset mastery. And so I started this group for trading mindset. And yeah, so really excited about it. Fantastic feedback so far. I also do bespoke training for professional traders, so hedge fund guys, prop firms, bank traders, because they have a different circumstance, they need to have a different training. So if you look at retail traders, right, they usually sit alone at home and do their own thing. And that is incredibly hard. Now, when you look at guys who work in firms, they already have a structure around them. They already have um, um, a framework that they need to adhere to. And if they don't, there is someone who tells them off, who puts them back in the box, who puts them back on the track. Whereas retail traders don't have that. So different problems for different types of traders, and hence different trainings. And I also have 3 home study courses. One is called the Fierce 10, which is a personal development program for traders. And then I have a money mindset program, and also one that I call the super trader training, which is really going into the foundation. You know, how do you keep your statistics? What is behavioral finance? What are the 3 pillars to trading success? So really implementing the foundations of trading. And then, you know, I've been around quite a lot in the last few years. So I've been to the Money Show in Chicago, been interviewed by Anthony Cordelli, the Futures Radio Show, Better Systems Traders, features magazines, newspapers. It doesn't matter, right? It's all good fun, meeting amazing people. Cool. Now, my coach, Steve Ward, that I worked with in 2012, he always said, everybody knows what to do. It is doing what you know in the heat of the moment that is the hard part. And, you know, I certainly experienced it myself, and I'm pretty sure most of you can relate to that as well. Because doing what you know is the very skill that sets apart the successful trader from the losing trader, from the failing trader. And it's really interesting because when we look at broker statistics, the facts are the high failure rate comes down to 2 main behavioral patterns. Whatever causes that patterns, right? So the stories why we do those patterns, they're different for everyone. The root causes are different for everyone. But if we look why 75% of traders fail, it comes down to not cutting losses in relation to the winning percentage. So if you have a 90-10% winning percentage, which I'm going to comment on later, you can let your losses run further than if you have a 50-50 winning percentage, of course, right? So it's not like being rigid about it. It's like in relation to your trading statistics. And what they also do is they martingale into losing trades, meaning that when they already have a losing trade, they add more more trades to that. Now, in the past, that was very different because futures traders, when you add another position to your already existing position, that actually averages out your position. So let's say you went short at 13,500 on the DAX, and then you went short, no, it didn't even go up that far, but let's say you went short at 13,300 on the DAX, and then you put on another short at 13,200. The professional platforms, they average that out, whatever that would be, let's say to 13,250, right? I just make it up now. Now, whereas when we trade with MT4, the retail platforms, it is often that they show up as two separate trades. And so with the margin getting into losing trades, you can do that if you know how to manage those trades as well. But what most traders do is they just add into the losing trades and then they don't take the losses again. Comes back down to this one single mistake. Now, on the flip side, this is actually really exciting news because what it means is that the only skill that the 75% failing traders need to learn is how to cut the losers. Because that means they too can cross over to the winner's side if they just learn this one skill. Mastering this can increase the probability of success by hundredfolds. And I was lucky enough to participate in the prop trader training at PropX, which is a Sydney-based proprietary trading firm here. And it became really apparent to me how true that is because one day we had to do a drill where we randomly placed trades at a 4-point stop loss, 8-point profit. Just random trades, nothing else, right? There was no skill involved. And guess what? The results were staggering. We actually, at the end of the day, and again, we had to do that all day. It wasn't just like trying here and there. So at the end of the day, we all were in a nice profit. And, that was just so interesting. Now, why a 4-to-8 relation, you might ask? Now, I had lunch with a quant from a big Melbourne hedge fund a while ago, and she's an amazing woman. She studied mathematics, and she's been with this fund for, I don't know, 20 years. And she told me that 65% profit loss ratio is the statistical sweet spot for traders. That translates into the 2-to-1 reward to risk management structure. She also told me, interesting enough, that an 80 or 90% profit loss ratio mathematically is not sustainable over the long term. So if you're proud of your P&L and you think, I've got 90% profit loss ratio, and I'm generalizing here, I know there's crazy phenomenal traders who can do that, but for the majority, this is not sustainable. And you might want to rethink what your values are and what you're looking for. Now, the interesting thing is, if the facts tell us otherwise, why then is it so hard for traders to do the very thing that will lead to trading success? Following through on cutting losing trades. Well, the reasons are twofold. It can be hard to stay strong and focused on your strategy when you have closed out your trades according to your exit rules. And we all have experienced that. You're not special. And then the trade comes back on site, and effectively you could have made a really nice profit and you get punished for following your rules. Secondly, what does the trader associate pain with? As you know from Tony Robbins, avoiding pain over seeking pleasure is a universal behavioral pattern all humans have in common. It's ingrained in our genes. And that's why so often we keep doing what's hurting us, even though we know better. Now, failing traders who find it hard to take a loss associate pain with the action of pressing that mouse button to cut the loss. And if we let it, this can prevent us from ever reaching our true potential and becoming a trading success story in our own right. Think about it. How will your trading results change once you start cultivating a new mindset? And I want you not to just think about it. Go back to your statistics and have a look. How would your statistics change if you were to apply a new mindset? When rather than being afraid of losing money in that one trade, you are afraid of a life of mediocrity because you took the easy way out. And what that means is by simply changing the association of what pain means to you, you can already start changing your behavioral pattern and reduce your losses. Because that's what it's all about. Just reducing losses a little bit, just increasing profits a little bit by little bit. Because traders who don't have a problem to cut losers, interestingly enough, and I've done a lot of research on that, they associate pain with something else. So if you look at a prop trader or hedge fund trader, they would associate pain with having a drawdown bigger than 5% because they know that they will lose their job instantly. They get the boot, no questions asked. There is no employment protections. You can't take your employer to court. It's like you're out. And the way to stop doing those things that don't work and start kicking some trading goals is learning cognitive dominance. Now, cognitive dominance is the ability, so it comes from warfare and the Navy SEALs, and that's why it's also defined in the context of soldiers in wars, right? So it's the ability of soldiers and systems that can, in a timely manner, outthink the enemy. It is about harnessing mental skills in order to consistently make rapid and accurate decisions under pressure. Now, who is the trader's enemy? It's the mind, right? It's our mind. And oh God, I love Jimmy Jude. He has a little bit of a crude language. He swears a lot, but really, I don't care. Like this guy, he's so to the point when it comes to sharing his experiences. He's a super successful trader, experienced, and so he shares those, those beautiful nuggets of reality. Um, he says he already has 6 imaginary dickheads talking and fighting in his own head to deal with. And we all have them, don't we? We all have them. We all fight with them. Cognitive dominance for traders is the ability to win over them. The ability of the rational mind to win over the emotions, not listening to that whisper in your ear, but to focus on doing your job, doing what needs to be done. Now, what is it that stops traders from doing what needs to be done? It's that pain that we were talking about before, that pain that blocks traders from being capable to sustain long-term trading success. It is the inability to experience, move through, and knowing that you can handle 8 unpleasant emotions. And those 8 emotions, I'm just going to mention them. We are not going to dive into them. I just want to mention them so you can recognize them when they come up for you. They're guilt, shame, vulnerability, helplessness, anger, embarrassment, disappointment, sadness, and all that comes as a sub experience for that. Now, why those 8? Because according to Dr. Joanne Rosenberg, who is the authority in developing emotional mastery, she explains that they are the most common spontaneous everyday reactions that come up for us repeatedly in our day-to-day lives. Usually they come up as a response to things that we feel didn't turn out the way we wanted them to, or things that we feel we needed them to turn out differently. Like, we are stuck in traffic and now we are running late for the plane, right? We can't catch the plane, or all the consequences that has. So that's when those emotions come up. We wanted something to happen and it didn't. We get upset when people don't do what we expect them to do. We get disappointed when we don't get the profit that we needed in order to pay our bills or in order to go on that holiday. We feel helpless when we repeatedly make the same mistakes over and over again. And I think every trader can relate to that in some way, not only in trading, but in any area of life. And the thing is, even the really super successful traders, they also have experienced that. Now, the difference is they don't stay in that helplessness. They know their way out of that. And the question is, how can we overcome these emotional pitfalls and develop cognitive dominance? Well, it all starts with putting everything into perspective, with a change in perspective. Because most traders, when they talk about trading success, they think it's the big moments, when we hit the home run in profits that are defining. But most of our success in life and in trading, of course, is about how we handle those little moment-to-moment situations. We think the big decisions are about which trading strategy to trade, the markets we choose. They're important, of course. I don't want to downplay the importance of it, but it's the did you take your loss or not that is most important. How do you handle yourself when your trade is underwater or when you made a mistake? Big decisions are about seizing opportunities, whereas the small decisions are how we manage our feeling and thinking state, the states that break or make us as a trader. What do you do when you said you get up at 5 a.m. to exercise, to go to the gym, and it's freezing cold outside, and now it's warm and cuddly in bed, and you don't feel like going out in this moment? Do you do what you said you would do? Are you going to keep your promise to yourself? Or do your emotions win? That little voice in the back of your head, you can skip it today. You can do tomorrow. Do your cognitive powers dominate your weak emotions? If you wait until you feel like it, you will never step up. And you will never do it, because success in any endeavor means taking the hard way. Now look at any athlete, right? So I know we have some amazing swimmers here in Australia. I know from the interviews with those guys that they don't like particularly getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I remember one guy sharing that the worst part of the swimming for him is diving into the cold water, because the water has to be fairly cold because the body heats up as they're swimming. And he dreads this moment. Now, what the difference is between him and others is he doesn't let his mind negotiate with him. Our mind is like a little kid. Please, I don't want to. Can't I stay up a little longer? Can't I play a little longer? No, shut up, go do the thing. Yeah. So that is the difference. If you look at, so I had a friend who would drive me nuts, and understandably, we're not friends anymore because he couldn't cope with me and I couldn't cope with him, I think. So he would always say, I'm too lazy, I'm too lazy. And I thought, we are all lazy. None of us wants to do certain things, but we still go and do it. Yeah. So house is messy. I'm too lazy to clean up now. I do it tomorrow. No, tomorrow doesn't exist. Do it today. That's the difference. Because a messy house has an impact on the clarity of your thinking. Yeah. So no one particularly feels cleaning a house, right? Or some people maybe do, but it's about, if I want my mind to be clear, then I want my desk to be clear. So there are three decisions in these moment-to-moment situations that will control how you feel in this moment, and they control if you take that loss or not. They control if you do what needs to be done or not. And that controls the trajectory of your equity curve. So the first question, the first decision that you need to ask yourself is, what do you tend to focus on? Do you tend to focus on how many trades you have missed again and how you stuffed up your trade again? Or do you focus on, all right, that didn't work so well, and you look for new opportunities, because there will always be new opportunities. Yes, you feel annoyed, that's normal, but you keep looking at how you can improve by 1% for tomorrow. What was it that caused you to miss that trade? And how can you maybe miss one trade less? Yeah, so manage your thinking and feeling states. I was working with a trader this morning, and he was short and went to bed. And so he's trading the ASX, right, the XJO here in Australia. So he went short, and then he closed out his short, went to bed, and then of course, ASX was down like 100 points from the time the market closed. And he was so annoyed with himself. He was so frustrated. And I said to him, so what happened? And we unpacked it. And it turned out that, and I have the same experience, I'm sure you too, that because of those Trump tweets, he started fearing that when he stays short, that Trump is going to tweet something, the market is going to rally and go crazy again, and takes him out once again, because that's what happened the last few times. Now, it didn't happen today, the one time when he didn't take that short setup, right? And so I said to him, just have a moment and acknowledge your humanity. Of course, you have been burnt a few times because of those tweets. And of course, now you're going to be wary. It's like when you have burnt yourself on a stove. Of course, you're going to be careful, right? So that is an unrealistic expectation of yourself. Now go back and be realistic and say, that is completely normal. It's not where I settled to stay on and to be on, but it's also I'm okay with my humanity, and I know the next trades I will get. And of course, this morning, he went short again, and it worked for him. So if we tend to focus on all that we have been not good enough, that we have missed, Our mind is not free to focus on new opportunities. And that is when we have a pessimistic mindset, so a fixed mindset, according to Carol Dweck. If you haven't read her book Mindset, you got to read it. Or if you have an optimistic, a growth mindset. Yeah. The second decision that defines your equity curve, that defines those moment-to-moment decisions is, do you filter for where you are not enough, where you will never be able to raise up to the challenge? Or do you focus on where your strengths are and what weaknesses you need to manage and compensate for? So being realistic here, right? That you're not Superman, you're not Superwoman, but you're a human being. So for example, one of Linda Rushke. So if you don't know who Linda Rushke is, she is one of the market wizards out there, one of the world's most successful traders. She is super, super aware of her weaknesses. And what she does is she's super solution focused and results oriented. And she looked at how can I manage my weaknesses. She knows she doesn't have particular strength in attention to detail. If you read her book Trading Sardines, there's lots of stories how her lack of attention to detail cost her a lot of money. So now she manages that. She knows that she's prone to keying in the wrong numbers into the keyboard when she puts in a position. So she has hotkeys on her keyboard now, where she only needs to press one button in order to put that position on. She has an assistant, Kyle, like the most awesome person. He's so funny, so cool. Kyle Potter 9, he's on Twitter. That helps her and has her back. He's very detail focused, and so he has the strengths that she is lacking. Yeah, she also knows she can't do it on her own, so she has a team around her to help her and to keep her motivated and to keep her on track, because she knows even after 40 years of trading, she is still human. Now, she also knows what her strengths are. She knows that when she is in a loss position, one of her strengths is to come back from a loss, to make it all back, and to come back bigger and better. So another question is, what is your self-talk like? Do you dramatize? I'm such a loser. I stuffed up again. I will never make it. My mom was right. Or are you having a little tantrum? One of my very successful hedge fund traders, he loves his tantrums and maybe kicking some monitors, and it's all good. He gets it out of his system, and then he goes back to focusing on his trading. And that works for him because it doesn't come from an experience of feeling disempowered. It just comes from having to get this anger out so that he can focus on his thing. He could also get a boxing ring in the room, in the trading room, and do a round of boxing. Whatever it is, whatever it takes for you to get back into focus. Now, when your self-talk is "I'm such a loser," just be aware of it, and now start shifting your focus to being solution focused. I made a mistake here, but how can I improve? I will find a way. There's always a way. I got this because other traders can do it. I can do it too. And I can tell you, any training of your mindset can make up for a lack of talent. I have seen traders that I wouldn't consider specifically intelligent or specifically smart, and they're amazing traders. Maybe not on Linda's level, but they have a fantastic lifestyle. So if you always focus on what you can't control and how you're not good enough and what it is missing, you're going to feel overwhelmed, and you're going to feel pissed off and stressed and helpless. And you're going through all the 8 emotions that I mentioned above. But if you focus on what you can't, what you can control, and you start putting into place structures, habits, and routines that will help you to manage your weaknesses, that will help you to manage yourself, then you have a chance to succeed. Because if you focus on what you can't control, you will never feel whole and strong and confident and certain. Now, Safalny Vishitek, which I really respect. I love his website. He's an Indian guy who does also a lot of work for in the Indian community for children, teaching them money mindset. Just an amazing guy. And he has this beautiful, he's the one who invented this beautiful, what's it called, flow chart. And many have copied him without mentioning his name. But hey, that's humans. Now, he says you can control risk, cost, time, emotion. You can't control returns. So it beats me why you rarely focus on risk, cost, time, emotion, and you only focus on returns. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. If you only focus on your profit loss ratio, now shift your focus on what's your risk. What do I need to learn? Do I need to work on my mindset? Do I need to work on my strategy? These are the things that you can control and that will help you to feel strong. Now, the third question that you need to ask yourself when you do those moment-to-moment decisions is, do you tend to focus more on the past, the present, or the future? Where do you spend in your thinking most of your time? What I found, which is a really big difference between successful people and unsuccessful people, and that is also simply how your mind was being trained to think, nothing else. The difference is that unsuccessful people, they keep thinking about the past and how they made mistakes or how someone did them wrong, and they keep going over and over and over and over it. The successful people, they have their tantrum and then they move on. And one example was my brother is very successful and an amazing guy, right? I adore him. So he is this kind of person who naturally thinks forward. When something doesn't work, he doesn't stay in that moment. He already thinks forward on how he can improve things. And so for me, that's quite lucky because I naturally, in my family dynamics, had to go the other way. So I would naturally go back and occupy the space of always looking into the past and feeling regret and feeling bad about things. And that's a topic about family dynamics, so I don't want to go into that either. But simply by becoming aware of the difference, because I wasn't aware of it, I started to shift it. I was able to take charge and to learn how to think differently. That's all it takes, right? So most people, when they focus on the regrets from the past, they put the past into their future out of repeating the past, and that's how it becomes an obstacle. So the only purpose of focusing on the past is to learn something that you can invest into a new future. People who focus on the future, however, they are naturally the ones who want to take charge of their lives, who want to shape their future by planning it, by using routines and habits to be more efficient and to help them make better decisions. So what I said with Linda, right? So she knows her weaknesses and she puts routines and habits and structures into place that helps her to not become victim of her own weaknesses, but to be able to live up to her strengths and do more of what she's really good at. So, and that also cuts down on overwhelm because you have a clear overview of your schedule. So, for example, when Linda still prepares every day for the trading session the next day, after almost close to 40 years of trading, that gives her clarity and she knows she's prepared for the next day. And I was recently doing an interview with someone and they gave me a really short window. They said, we need to schedule this interview in 2 days. And I said, that's not enough time for me to prepare. And they said, you've done it such a long time, you know your stuff, just wing it. And I said, I don't want to wing it. I want to be professional. I want to be prepared. I want to be able to give the best value that I can give. And that does not come from winging it. And that's what I also see in Linda. There is no winging it. Yeah? So at every moment of your life, your behavior is influenced by these three decisions. Now, most traders make those decisions unconsciously. You know how I said before, I wasn't aware of me always looking at the past and regretting the past. Only when I learned about this, I was looking at myself in the mirror and like, wow, this is what I do. And now I can change that, right? Now I have the choice. Now I'm in power. Now I can take charge. Most traders, however, they make those decisions unconsciously, and their mind is an unruly puppy and not a trained guide dog helping them to succeed. Now check in with your mind. Is it an unruly puppy? Is there impulsive trading, that you jump into trades? Is it that you go binge trading, that you keep trading and trading, executing trades? Is it that you don't take your losses? Is it that you're ruled by fear? That is all a puppy mind and not a trained guide dog helping you to succeed. And there are millions of things that we can focus on. And what I found is the 75%ers, how I call all the failing traders, they let the environment decide how they think. They let the environment trigger their focus and decide where their focus goes. Every trader has a certain pattern of that. And that comes from how they were programmed when growing up. Now, patterns dominate you. If you think I'm not disciplined, I hate structure and routine, it is not that you're not disciplined. It is not that you hate structure and routine. It is simply that you have a pattern of letting those feelings and thoughts dominate you. And that's where cognitive dominance comes from. So let the I don't want to take that loss or I don't want to miss out be the first place. So don't let the I don't want to take that loss or I don't want to miss out be the first place your untrained your mind goes to. You need to train it to go to a different place. Like, the trade is not working out. I need to get out of here. And so you can develop a new pattern. You can condition yourself to have a pattern of more certainty. Doesn't mean that you're perfectly certain all the time, but at least a lot more than usual. And that gives you more clarity as well. So I want to give you some examples of how those things actually play out in our trading. So the difference between failing traders and how their puppy mind sets them up for failure, and then the lifetime successful traders, how their trained guiding mind sets them up for success. And I'd say lifetime traders because there's also those one-shot wonders, right? I know a trader who in 2008, he made $1 million and he thought that he had it all handled and hasn't made any money since. So that can't be it, right? Now, let's look at the behavioral patterns just so that you can recognize yourself. And here's the thing. If you recognize yourself, you are now at the fork in the road. You can choose to feel bad about yourself, to decide that you suck, that you will never make it, that your mom or your dad was right about you. You can argue for not being good enough, or you can get excited and say, oh my God, I did not know about that. There's so much for me to grow into. No wonder that I couldn't perform at that level that I wanted to perform. I'm now going to sit down and take charge and find out and learn how to become like a lifetime successful trader. Yeah. So the very first thing that I see is the perfectionist attitude. They're setting impossible, irrelevant standards even. So the emotions of the failing traders, they go up and down with their challenges. And when they expect that life should be perfect, they shouldn't have challenges. The trade shouldn't go against them. Trump shouldn't tweet. All these things, right? That is childlike, magical thinking, far from reality. And my question is, what makes you so special thinking that you shouldn't have to deal with the same challenges everyone else has to manage? So whereas the successful traders, the 1%ers, they don't care about perfection. They understand their humanity. They understand that it doesn't matter if they have left money on the table and didn't take the profit at the peak of the trade. All that matters is in the end, can they live the life that they designed for themselves, living life on their own terms. And if that is not happening, then they go back and look at what do I need to change? How can I achieve that? And I can tell you it's not perfectionism. Now, anyone who has read Linda's book, Trading Sardines, you know she leaves a lot of money on the table. That is not her benchmark. It doesn't matter because she also understands that in the moment of decision, we make the best decisions that we can make with the information, with the knowledge that we have. And At the time when we got out of this trade, we couldn't do any better. And it's not useful to say, I can do better. Well, if you could have, you would have. So there's something for you to learn to improve on. Yeah. So you missed a few trades, your little voice starts to complain. Your feelings and your emotions start flaring up. And again, you know what makes you so special, thinking that you have to catch every trade when even the best traders in the world don't. Your profit turned into a loss, or prices approaching your stop loss. You don't like it. Big deal. No one likes it. The swimmer doesn't like to get up at 4 in the morning, um, doesn't like to jump into the cold water. They still do what needs to be done because they have this vision. They know what they want to do. And again, what makes you so special that you think you don't need to take a loss? You didn't let your profit run to the exact turning point. Big deal. Happens to everyone. Yeah. So it's like saying you didn't eat the whole buffet when you went to the all-you-can-eat restaurant. It doesn't make sense, right? It's irrelevant. Now you have to make a choice in this critical moment. Do you choose cognitive dominance and manage those emotions and shift to self-talk, a shift in perspective that helps you to manage yourself? Or do you start Googling on how to mistrade, how to let my profits run further, how to be disciplined, and so you can, how to stop feeling bad about my trading so that you can avoid responsibility and whinge to your trading buddy? Everybody wants a victory, but failing traders, they also want to avoid a good battle. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. Everybody wants a victory, and failing traders, they avoid a good battle, the very thing that leads to victory. If they don't like the results they're getting, they complain rather than finding a way to rise to the occasion. Everybody wants to be an overcomer, but you first need to learn how to overcome. And that is the problem, because most traders, they don't know how to overcome their challenges. Then rather than going out and looking at how to overcome this challenge, they look at ways to avoid having to fight the battle. And that's not working. Yeah, so if you see yourself in any of those examples, please be excited and see how much you can learn. And I hope that, you begin to notice now the endless possibilities that open up for you to become a better trader. Yeah. So the trader, for example, who wants to have a 90-10 profit-loss ratio, I wonder, why is it that they want that? And again, out of my experience of working with this kind of trader, it always comes to they're seeking certainty. They are seeking a way of not needing to take those losses because they're so painful. Now, again, number one, statistically, it's not sustainable. And number two, it is usually the kind of trader who lets their accounts blow up. Right? So that's also what I see a lot. They avoid discomfort, they run away from conflict, and they avoid challenges in their daily life as well. Now, what I see with those successful traders, they love a good challenge. They constantly seek out a new challenge, like a 30-day weight loss challenge, a 30-day no carb challenge, 30-day gym challenge, right? Whatever word challenge has in the title, they're seeking it out because they will want to grow and conquer and measure themselves. Now, if you're someone who habitually tries to hide from challenges, look at how that plays out in your trading. Those are usually the traders who indulge in feeling bad self-talk. They love those, I did it again, I'm so useless, will I ever make it? It's like it makes them feel better than finding solutions, because to be honest, it is actually so much easier to talk than really sitting down and using your brain power to find solutions. And it is so much easier to stay in the childlike thinking rather than growing up and taking responsibility. Yeah. So let me see, that is the also a lot of childhood programming that, where we need to learn to accept how we were programmed, that our parents maybe didn't get it right all the time, but now we are adults and now we have the power to change. And the question is, if not you, who is going to change that? And if you're not going to change it, how is your trading going to play out? Yeah. And that is taking responsibility versus blame. Because blaming is, uh, I stuffed up again, it's not working. Taking responsibility is saying, all right, yes, I did stuff up, I didn't do well today, and now I need to look at how I can do better. Right? And just get on with it. That's what I really find with those successful traders. And the thing is, think about it. When do you want to grow up? Some people never want to grow up. The whole life is like a whiplash at the end of a tail. But the thing that I want you to know is like you don't have to be rocked like that, like the rest of those 75%. You can actually change that, because freedom, I tell you, isn't free. You got to fight for it by learning mentally how to engage in whatever your issue is. Yeah. If I don't want to do it, I know I have to do it. That's one of my maxims that I say to myself. If I don't want to have a cold shower, I know I need to have a cold shower. If I don't want to clean up my house, I know I have to clean up my house. Yeah, so that's how I started changing my thinking. Tomorrow doesn't exist for me. I do it now. Yeah, it's no, I'm going to do my homework tomorrow. No, I do it now, no matter how tired I am. I might go back in the morning and redo it or revisit it because I was so tired and I didn't do my best work, but still I did it. And that's the moment when we start taking control and taking charge of our emotions, of our mind. And that's when life can change. Just think about it. I wonder really if you can notice now how by tapping into these three resources, how when you can just get those basics down and how to stay in control instead of emotionally getting out of control, how your trading can change when you develop cognitive dominance. Because that's what it is, the ability to not listen to that little voice, to not engage in arguing with that little voice, to, as soon as a little voice starts talking, you just charge forward. So there's this beautiful story of an adventuress. She is, her name is Jade Hameister, I think it is. She's 16 years old now, and when she was 14, she started crossing three of the poles. And she shared in several interviews how so she was doing that with her father and a Navy SEAL coach, and she shared how her coach trained her that the moment comes when you're out there, everything's just white, everything's just silent, everything hurts. Her feet hurt, like you should see the bloodied um the blood on her feet, and so sore and wound, and her muscles hurt, and she's like, I don't want to go on anymore. I had enough. I just want to sit down now and not take one more step. And her coach taught her that when she gets to that point, or well before she gets to that point, that she has to walk even faster, to push through, to go even harder. And that's the only way to overcome that. And it just takes, it's like a wave that comes, right? And it just takes like 5 minutes, and then you forget about that. And then you're back in the zone, back in the groove. Yeah. So when we look at cognitive dominance, that is what it is, to really push through and start taking care of your business. Now, I want to start going into the pathway to learning cognitive dominance. So one of the things with discipline is it is really doing the things that you know you must do, but you don't feel like doing. It's the only thing. And the danger that I see often with those 90-10 traders is that 9 out of 10 times when they don't close out their trades, they might get saved, right? The trade goes back into profit. And then the 10th time is when the trade does not go back into profit. And that's when the account blows out. So that's why even if your trade goes into profit after you closed out, it does not matter. That's not the point. It's irrelevant. Do what needs to be done in the big picture. So if you keep taking your losses, you will be fine. If you wait for being rescued by the market all the time, you will not be fine. You will never make it. So it's really a skill and an art, nothing else. The question is, when trading becomes challenges, do you crumble under the pressure? Because it's the same pressure that breaks one trader and makes the other trader step up. The question is, how are you going to show up? Yeah. So I just want to got a question here that I want to pick up because it's a really great question. Is cognitive dominance something you either have or you don't? And if not, is it possible to learn cognitive dominance? So of course it is possible to learn cognitive dominance. And that is like from all the, you know, thousands of clients that I've worked with by now, that is the biggest transformation that I can see, the thing that supports them to get through to becoming successful. And that then, like a domino effect, um, goes on, like a ripple effect into all areas of their life. And when you see somebody, the light lit up in their eyes, that they managed to be disciplined, that they have discovered that they have what it takes, that makes it all worth it. So motivation, grit, resilience, mental discipline, mental toughness, cognitive dominance, that is usually programmed in the first 5 to 15 years of childhood development. And it is designed by how your environment, so your parents, your caretakers, the important people in your life motivated you. How was the reward system set up in your family dynamics? Did you learn to be intrinsically motivated or extrinsically motivated? So I know this trader, for example, he's a complete slop, but he's a phenomenal trader. He has so much talent. He doesn't need to do the things that us mere mortals have to do. He doesn't need to practice and train cognitive dominance. So what I'm talking about here might not apply for everyone, but it applies for, I would say, 99% of people out there in the world, not only traders, people. So I see other traders who had the programming in those 14, who had not had this program this 14, 15 years. And they then need to mature later. They grow up later in life, no matter what the age is. I have seen 50-year-olds who still behave like little kids, and they need to make the decision to grow up. And then one day, when they made this conscious decision to change their life around, and they say, that's it. I'm going to draw a line in the sand and I create a complete new future. And by the way, that was my path as well. Thank God not by 50, thank God much earlier. So, but everything I share with you here is what I went through myself. So it is possible to learn. It is possible to train yourself. And that is the good news. Now, cognitive dominance, as I said, comes from the Navy SEAL community, from the special ops. And this is how they train their special ops to have cognitive dominance, much more extreme, of course, than we do. But we don't need to go to these extremes. Now, if you haven't learned to cope with stress, uncertainty, and discomfort, you're going to get rocked in trading. And you want to do the one thing that will lead to trading success. And so the way to learn to cope with stress, uncertainty, and discomfort is with those 4 steps. Number 1, seek out challenges wherever you can. So I'm seeking out challenges. I have to say, at the beginning, I used to be so bad at it. I would start a 30-day challenge and I would barely get through the first week. And that was okay, right? So that was my new benchmark. I never did a 30-day challenge. And I did one and like, wow, I rock. Naturally, I would have gone into, oh man, I didn't manage to finish it. What's wrong with me? I will never make it. Now I shifted it. I'm like, I started it. I went through 4 days. That is awesome. Then I join another 30-day challenge. And, I make it through the first week maybe. And then I join another one and I only make it for the first 2 days. And I keep going and going and training myself. So if you're the kind of trader who is naturally not dominant, which is me, and who doesn't have the fighting spirit but is prone to hiding and feeling disempowered and, wanting to avoid friction, guys, Again, that described me to the T, and was the reason why my life, my trading sucked. Start with some sort of training that will help tame your unruly mind. Who cares how you feel? Stop that habit of thinking you have to feel good before you can take care of business, before you can start doing something. We all don't feel like doing a lot of things. We all don't feel like going to the gym, but we still do it. Train your nervous system to obey. Demand it from yourself. Condition it into your body and draw it into your nervous system because you have that desire, that hunger to succeed, and that's the only way. Start expanding your comfort zone by seeking out challenges. So notice that I didn't say um, um, get out of your comfort zone because, in my opinion, that is setting you up for failure. Expand it. Be kind to yourself. Make it bigger. That is the way to succeed. Increase it by 1% every time. Because what I can see, one trait that I noticed in the 75 percenters, they're afraid and they resent being challenged. And they want to be comfortable and mollycoddled. So when I challenge them, they disappear on me. I don't hear from them for a week. And I know they haven't made it. And I need to challenge them and challenge them again until they have learned to be okay with it. And they know that it comes from a spirit of, I know that you can do better. I know you've got this. I know you can take it. Yeah, so that's where you start changing your life. Because again, the difference to the high performers in any area of their lives, they want to learn to experience themselves beyond all the limits that they know. They want to reach levels that they never felt capable of. And all of us can do that. Yeah. So you might ask yourself, where's the joy in all this? Where's the joy of having to conquer yourself and challenge yourself? Well, the joy comes from the breakthroughs, my trading friends. The joy comes from overcoming, from pushing through the ouch, this hurts as hell. The joy comes from I made myself do it. And that's where the inner pride comes from, the self trust. You have to earn your confidence. It's not being given. And then traders come to me and say, can you help me to be more confident? No, I can't. You can help yourself to be confident because you need to earn it. However, I can show you the path to doing that. If you don't direct your mind, if you don't condition it, your mind, your emotions will mess with you. And I guess what I really want you to realize is you don't have to do this shit, really. This holding on to losing trade, this impulsively jumping into runaway trades. You don't need to do that. You can change it by priming your day, by priming your mind every day, and start every day new. And one of the ways that you can prime your mind is by, for example, controlled breathing. Yoga has a lot of amazing exercises on how you can control your breathing. You breathe through different nostrils. Start breathing through your nose. And that's what they teach in special ops. Breathe through your nose. Because there's two reasons. Number one, when you breathe through your nose, there is a very different quality of breath um, that that helps your body to perform on a much different level. And number two, when you breathe through your nose, your brain gets a massage. So if you hold one nostril and breathe through the other nostril, actually you can massage the different parts of your brain, and that helps you with cognitive dominance, with being able to think clearly and not being overtaken by emotions, but to focus and to just keep breathing and focus on your brain being massaged. Yeah, so second one is most people don't want things to not go their way. They don't like surprises, or they only like surprises that are pleasant, like a surprise dinner. But they don't like surprises like a person behaving in an unexpected way. They don't like surprises like storms or losing a house or whatever it is, an illness. The difference is that when you learn to embrace those surprises, those challenges that are uncomfortable, you train yourself to get excited and you know that you will grow and you learn new things. And you understand and you accept that life is challenging. And then to be okay with finding someone who is a coach or a mentor or someone who has been through what you have been through and gives you ideas on how to overcome that, how to become better, how to have different thinking strategies, how to apply strategic thinking to find a solution. That's one thing again that I found incredible with Linda, because she had a storm in Florida and no telephone, nothing, out in nowhere. And she looked at what can I do to get in touch with my broker to let them know. And she remembered that there was a farm, a guy with a farm who had a satellite phone. So it was like a few kilometers down the road. She made it through the storm and she was able to call her broker and let them know that she is offline. Yeah, so always become solution focused, results oriented, find a way. There's always a way, always a way. And that's what successful people do. They know when to ask for help. They're not afraid of asking for help. The insecure guys, the insular guys, they are the ones who say, I can make it happen myself. I just need to be disciplined and patient and accept losses. I can do this with my willpower. And they are the ones who usually implode because it's false pride and not solving the problem at all. Now, in order to develop cognitive dominance, you also need to start practicing things you don't like doing, what I said before. Seek out everything that you don't want to do. So the self-talk, I want to share something again, what following the path that leads to successful trades. And considering that Linda Rushke is one of the most successful traders in the world, I want to share this gift with you that is from her book. So what happened was she was in a trade, the botched bean trade, and she was 80% down on her account. She couldn't get out. It was a gap. And also, rather than getting her out of that trade, her broker got her in twice. So never found out whose mistake it was. Doesn't matter. Reality that she had to face was, I'm down 80%. What do I do? And that is her self-talk. And now check with yourself. What is your self like? How does your self-talk compare? Come on, Linda, let's go. You can do this again. Fight, fight. You gotta get that money back. I'm going to get that money back out of sheer concentration and focus. Keep your mind in the game mentally, Linda. If I check out for 1 minute, I'm dead. And then she keeps talking to herself. How many times have I had to fight to make back a crazy blip? Okay, so this was more than a blip, but I always tell myself, if I did it once, I can do it again. I'm a racehorse lining up at the gate. Turn off the mind, put the blinkers on, and wait for that starting bell. And I always compare Linda with Wings, that famous racehorse that we have here in Australia, who now retired, and she was famous because she would always come from the back of the field and then win by lengths. And this is what Linda did with this trade. Not only did she make back the 80% drawdown that she had, she also came out, I think, 7% on top. Yeah, massive. That's amazing. And this is what the 1%ers do. They know how to weather the storm. Not recklessly. They have mentors, coaches, and friends who have their back and support them, because that's what Linda said as well. She said, I know I have an amazing team around me. And also, they follow a path to success. They have structure, routine, and habits in place, right? So most of the 75%ers, they're like, I don't like structure, I don't like routine, I want to avoid it. And a common theme that I hear from Jocko and Goggins and all those Navy SEALs is structure and discipline is something that anyone who has developed a level of grit, they all have that. Most know that they're lacking, but they don't know how to start to introduce structure and discipline in their life and how they can use it as a base to build upon. So consider that it is very evident in most people's lives by the way they live. So if you want to know if someone has structure and discipline in their life, you can see that by the results they have. And it starts with saying no. Starts with saying yes to the things that need to be done. So you start just at a level where you can. When you don't have any structure in your life, you need to start at a simple thing of making up your bed in the morning. And your little mind is going to go nuts, and your monkey mind is going to say, no, I don't feel like this. And you just do it anyway. You just don't engage in any way, shape, or form with that little voice. If that little voice says to you, just stay another 5 minutes, you say, okay, just 5 minutes. You don't do that. If that little voice says, just another 5 minutes, you just ignore it and you get up anyway. You know, look at whom are you hanging out with? Who has your back? If you don't have friends at the moment who operate on that level that you want to operate, watch those videos like Goggins and Jocko, those guys who have grit, who already have the structure, who already do what needs to be done. And hang out with those guys. Watch every morning. They do like 2-3 minute videos. Watch those videos, right? So I personally find it so much more fun to have a group around you to conquer life, because life is hard, right? We need to be realistic. So, in talking about being realistic, it's about controlling what you can control. Initially, you cannot get ahead without suffering, and you got to take on that issue and got to wrestle with it. It's like when you go to the gym, you need to build that muscle. You would not expect going to the gym and push 100 kilos. But if you train, you can do it. And again, Linda, she actually won a bodybuilding competition at the age of 48. Now, anyone who's over 40 knows how hard it is. And to remember that profit loss ratio is irrelevant. What is relevant in the end is, can you sustain your lifestyle? What is relevant is, what is your process like? What are your mental structures like? To be a successful kick-ass trader who lives life on my terms, that is what I want. Then I'm going to take that damn loss and get on with it. Never lose sight of your purpose. Figure out a way to get a win, because your purpose tells you and helps you to do what needs to be done in that moment. So the reason why the swimmer gets up at 4 in the morning and dives deep into that cold water is because they have this vision to become an Olympic or world champion. Never lose sight of that vision. Yeah. Most people, they want to run away. That's not who you want to be, is it? You want to be the 1% kick-ass trader. So I hope this trading is helpful for you, and you don't just make it food for thought. You take action. You take one piece of today and you start putting it into practice, and then another piece, and then another piece. And if you follow those 4 steps and practice cognitive dominance over those emotions, it's nothing but a muscle that needs to be practiced. If you command and demand your finger on that mouse button to obey, no matter what that little voice whispers in your ear or how you feel, oh my gosh, my trading friends, it will free you so much. It will help you achieve so much more than the traders around you, than those traders, they want to feel good before they cut that loss. Screw that. It will help you to achieve more than you ever thought possible. And if you're wanting to grow faster as a trader than you can right now, if you need to develop more discipline and want help with developing cognitive dominance in your trading, or breaking through other obstacles that are holding you back from achieving everything you want in your life right now, then feel free to contact me for a 30-minute complimentary assessment session where we can do an assessment and can have a look into what is going on in your life right now that needs to be dissolved, any blockages that need to be dissolved. So imagine, for example, every week immerse with me in my high performance trader group, where we cover all aspects of your trading, but we do it from an execution standpoint, where I help you to apply the knowledge and to execute each step of the way, rather than giving you more knowledge to put into the insights and understandings box that you already have in your shelf, right? It's about taking action and helping you to take action, apply that in your life. Now, I also want to give you that on the way. Again, it's from Linda's book. Life is unpredictable, and the life of a trader is laced with uncertainty, and not just in trading, but everywhere in life, where we suddenly go through divorce, where we lose a loved one, and suddenly we are faced with other unsurmountable challenges, where we are faced with a sick parent or a sick child. All these we need to learn how to see as a challenge, where we decide, I'm going to come out bigger and better than because of that. I'm not going to let that defeat me. It's just a decision, nothing else. So I would love to open this up now for questions. Who wants to ask questions? Let me see. Cool. Any questions? No one? You can send me questions privately, or you can send me questions publicly. Okay, so one question is, my favorite book on trading performance is Steve Ward's High Performance Trading. I guess you you recognize that title because it's the name of my website. It's inspired by Steve. Also, we don't only want to look at these structures and metrics what have to be done, because what high performance trading is, it's all about what are your statistics. So yesterday someone was saying, I always don't follow my system, and it's it's bad for my trading. And then I asked this person, how do you know? And I said, well, I just know. And I said, out of the last 100 trades, how many of your trades did you not follow your strategy? And how many of those trades that you did not follow your strategy ended up as a loss? And this trader didn't know the answer. So I asked her, I said, make up your stats, send me your stats. And guess what? She discovered that she was actually making really good profits with her, we call it the gut feeling trades, because they were not any trades that she followed her strategy on. So what we perceive as being bad or not working might not be bad. You need to look for your statistics. You need to look for the hardcore proof that what you think is not working is actually not working, or in contrast, what you think is working, maybe that is not working. Now, so I use Pepperstone, which is an MT4 trader, and that is beautiful because I can just connect it to my FX book or FX Blue, or even on the MT4, if you go to account history, you right click, you can download all your trading history and it has all the stats there as well. I like my FX book a little better because I can see what the trade did after I exited, or after I entered the trade. So I can see how good or bad my timing is. If I need to work on my timing, it gives me so many information that I can see where I need to improve, where I can improve. And that gives me the experience of being in control, right? I can now control the controllables. Most traders, they don't want to look in the mirror. They don't want to look at their statistics because it hurts. It's uncomfortable. And guess what? I hate it too when I haven't done well. It's like, when you have been to the gym every day and you look good, you want to look in the mirror all the time. And if you had a lot of Christmas parties and chocolates, you don't want to look in the mirror. It's the same with your trading. When your trading goes well, you can't stop looking at it. If your trading doesn't go well, then yeah, you don't want to look at your stats. But that is the moment when you need to look at your stats to find out what to improve. Awesome question. Thank you. The traders who use TradeStation or NinjaTrader, I know they also have those built-in reporting functions. Other traders, so most of my prop traders or professional traders, the six-figure traders, they use TraderView, TraderVue. Also, Edgewonk is great. Rolf and Moritz's software. They have done a lot of work in the last year and improved it a lot. So yeah, look at your statistics, look in the mirror, do what needs to be done, even though it freaking hurts, because it gets you to that place of joy. What statistical info is more relevant to figure where you're at? Cool, that's also an amazing question. Now, I look at 3 types of stats. The outcome statistics. So I do look at my profit and loss, of course, because I need to know where I am so that I can always fine tune my risk reward. Because even though it sounds good to have 2-to-1 Sometimes it doesn't work this way. When the market has gapped, then it might have blown out my stats. So I need to adjust that. I maybe don't follow my strategy as well because I had a tough time in my personal life and I wasn't being the most disciplined trader. So I also need to look at how do I adjust my trading accordingly. So these are the outcome stats. You look at your process stats, like have you prepared every day? Have you um, how does your strategy perform in that market? What is your entries like? If you consistently leave money on the table, so which is usually in trending markets, not so much in sideways markets, then have a look at what can you improve in your strategy that helps you to make better trading decisions. So the process data, then of course your personal data, how you're feeling, what's going on in your life right now that might be impacting your performance, that may be impacting your clarity, where your mind gets clouded because you are stressed, right? Did you get a big tax bill and now you're like, oh, all that money that I have to pay, that causes financial stress that will show in your trading. Do you have stress at work? All these things I also keep track on. Yeah, so it's a little hard to say, Richard, without knowing what is the gap in your trading right now. But when we know what the gap is, then we can dive into that statistical info, and that is something that I would do with my traders in my high performance trader group. Or I also did a little webinar. I'm going to send you, I have your email, I remember. I'm going to send you that training. Maybe that's useful for you. Or get Steve Ward's book, High Performance Trading. I hope it was useful for you, that answer. If not, please let me know. How can I deal with the fatigue of trading? Oh yeah, that's a really good one. It's like I'm on a run and have hit the wall and I lose stamina and my decision making slips and stops. I feel it is just staying strong and pushing through like physical training, but is there more to it? There is more to it. So we need to take into consideration that when we talk about the mental game of trading, the trading is, we can't really push through like we can push through in sports. So in sports, it is always the mind that gives up first, and there's so much more in our muscles. In trading, we don't have that. So when you have fatigue of trading, one thing I would recommend you is look at your statistics. Oh, sorry, I had to cough a little. Let me just get some water, just 1 second. Okay, so when you look at your statistics, look at what is your biggest run of profitable trades. So I know I can have 7 profitable trades in a row. I'm a very short-term trader, I must say. So for the bigger picture traders, that might be a different story. That means that I know when I hit 7 or 8 profitable trades that I am now at risk of getting either superwoman syndrome or being fatigued, not being as cautious anymore, and starting to take maybe risks that I shouldn't take. Where also the man in the green bathrobe or woman in the purple bathrobe, as I call it, sets in, where we think I've made all this money in profits, now it's the house money. And that's an unconscious thinking pattern that runs us. But if you're aware of it, that we now start saying, oh, I've got enough money in the account, I can sit out a whipsaw. That is usually when those whipsaws turn into a change in trend and kill our account. So you want to, number one, be really aware of at what point sets that fatigue in. I know for me, 7, 8 trades. What is it for you? Your statistics will show. When you lose stamina, be really aware of what it takes to regenerate. So for me, it depends on my situation. If I have been out a lot, like I was last week, I was out meeting a lot of traders and had to do filming. It was 2 weeks ago. Had to do filming, so I was out a lot. Then I need to recover because I'm an introvert. Funny enough, I need to recover by being on my own, just vegging out, watching a movie. I know guys, they love the video games. They go and watch, they go and play video games, which I love because playing video games really helps your brain to also practice making quick decisions. Playing video games is the best that you can do for your trading. I know this guy by, as a fact, he's a young guy. He's so awesome. He was a professional video game player in his teens, and of course, he didn't make any money with video games. And he discovered forex trading. He's like, "Oh, look at that!" And he's an amazing forex trader. Like he makes so much money forex trading. Um, and it's because of his skill of playing video games. It really shows in his trading. Um, it is also maybe when you have been alone a lot. So that's the flip side for me. When I have been trading alone at home, I need to go out. So then I go to the gym. I need to be around people. I call a friend, go have lunch with my friend. And all my friends, they're trained. They know when not to ask me questions. They know to never ask me about my trading because I don't like talking about it. Um, so pushing through, unfortunately, in that moment doesn't work. I am a big fan of nanny naps. I also have those beautiful, I actually got them from Linda, which I have those beautiful, okay, did I run out? Aha. So these are 3 minutes, I don't know if you can hear it. These are 3 minute meditations. And I might just do that and do a lot of breathing, breathing deep. That's a Tony Robbins priming training that I do. So it really depends on your personal circumstances on what you do. But pushing through, I would not recommend you. So again, I hope that answers your question. If not, please let me know. Any trading strategies to recommend? No, trading strategies I do not recommend because in Australia we have to be licensed to give advice on trading strategies, and I'm not licensed. They charge like $2,000-3,000 a month now. It's just nuts, and I don't not interested in paying that money. I'd rather go and have a holiday or get some nice shoes or do something fun with that money. So cool. By the way, talking about trading strategies, Linda is running a webinar tomorrow. I'm going to send all of you her link, so maybe you get some ideas from her. Okay. Hi, Mandy. I have started the way of new healthy routines. Awesome. Already lost 18 kilos. You are a rock star. But I'm seeing my life centered on my trading activity, unbalanced almost. Yep, I'm hearing you. Little time for family or my work outside trading. Not sustainable, my friend. Yeah. And you know that. So my performance haven't improved and this determines my weekly mood. Yeah, I get that. Okay. I completely get it. It's completely clear. So when we look at spending a lot of time on our trading activity and having less time left for family or work outside trading, that, and again, I don't know you at all, so I'm making a lot of assumptions here. That tells me that there could be a certain element of escapism where we maybe feel not very connected with our family, or they have certain traits that we don't appreciate, or we don't like connecting with people at all, so we are more behind the computer. It can also be an insight into addictive behavior. Addictive behavior is every time we know that doing something would be useful and helpful, but we don't do it, we stay with that activity. So let me give you an example. When I have been sitting all day and trading, and then my routine and structure says, you need to go to the gym now. So let's say at 2 o'clock gym time. And then at 2 o'clock, I'm lazy. I don't want to go to the gym. And I decide to stay and look at trading because there's so many opportunities, that is addictive behavior. Yeah. A person who is not addictive keeps in mind all the other activities that are important for us to fully function. And that is also connecting with our families, spending time with them. I'll tell you one thing, you will regret it one day. Um, I did that a lot as well. I was lucky, and it sounds horrible, but I was lucky that my father got cancer, and I was forced to spend time with him because I had the chance to make up for it. I had the chance to be there for him and to find peace with him. If he had died out of nowhere, unexpected, I wouldn't have found that peace. So now I'm making consciously time for my friends and for my family. Even though sometimes I'm like, oh man, I'm missing out on this amazing market. Doesn't matter. Big picture, I won't remember. Yeah. There was this there was this article. Jedi Marcus, I think, was the one who tweeted it, and really touched my heart. It was asking terminally ill children what they loved most about their life and what they regretted most about their lives. And none of the children said, I wish I had spent more time on my iPhone. I wish I'd spent more time on my computer games. They all were about spending time with their parents, the hugs, having a pet. So having a little dog or a little cat or a little rabbit bunny to cuddle with, having friends to have fun with, laughing, eating ice cream. Eating ice cream seems so, you know, nothing big, but for children it's such a big thing. So consider that. What are you going to regret? And I give you one promise. If you keep going to the gym, if you keep your healthy routines, you start including your family maybe in it, and you spend time with your family and your work outside your trading, it will make you a better trader. I promise you that. I guarantee. Cool? I hope that answered your question. If not, again, please let me know. You're a total rock star for losing 20 kilos. That's amazing. And knowing that you have achieved that, I wonder if you can now begin to notice, if you tap even more into the habits that help you to achieve that, what else you can achieve in your life. That's epic. So, next question. I have impulsive behavior. I hear that so often. How can I become more disciplined? Again, when you have impulsive behavior, that means that your mind is unruly. It's like a little puppy dog, and you need to start training your mind outside of trading, outside the time where there is the pressure. Yeah, so you can't train your mind when you are under pressure. Only if you have a group environment like Navy SEALs and someone who guides you through that. You can't do it on your own. So start with those little things. When you know you must do something and your mind says, I don't want to do that, say, because my mind says that, I know I need to do that. And I promise you, when you start there, then that impulsive behavioral pattern will disappear slowly in your mind. Cool. Another question, and I love this question, is that how can I train my mind not to feel negative when I take a loss? Now, it is not about not feeling negative when taking a loss. Of course you feel negative. Of course you feel annoyed. It's acknowledging the humanity in it. And that it's okay that you still can do what needs to be done even though you feel the way you feel. And so you can see what you're focusing on, not wanting to feel negative. That is focusing on what's irrelevant. What is relevant is that you're a champ because you take your losses even though you feel the way you feel. Does it make sense? And that's what it is. That's the key to, overcoming this gap. Exactly. Is feeling good about taking your loss where you said you would. It's about connecting pain with associating pain with something else. Associating pain when you're such a crap trader that doesn't take their loss. Who does that? Only the 75%ers. Everyone else that do what needs to be done, no matter how uncomfortable it is. They go running in the rain. They get up at 4 in the morning, even though they feel negative about it. It's feeling good about having conquered yourself, having earned the right to be confident. That's what it's about. So thanks, Sam. That's really good feedback. Sorry, I thought I muted myself, but didn't catch the right button. Any other questions? Okay, so here's another question from a trader that I know, haven't worked with, but I know. How can I stop letting my losses run too far? That's in a nutshell this question. Now, when you have a lot of uncertainty in your life, when you go through divorce, when you go through having to take care of a loved one because their health is not the best, that impacts your trading. And the thing is, when you are not able to take your losses, is because you, and that's for you specifically, okay, is because you're dealing with a lot right now. And when you have learned to deal with the overwhelm, with all the stuff that has been coming at you, and you start putting order to it and ordering in your mind and knowing what the way out is of your situation, then taking losses will be easy again, because I know you've done it in the past. You know that you can take your losses because that's who you used to be. And you got thrown off out of rhythm because of these external life events. So anyone who has the experience of not taking their losses, I want to ask you, have you ever been in a situation where you did take your loss? And I know every one of you has. So you know you have proven you can do it. And now go do more of that. Thanks, Mandy. This has been amazing. Thank you. I have to run. Yep. So we've done an hour and a half, and I will send you the recording. And thank you so much for your awesome questions. Yes, I will. Let's see with sharing the email. I think you're putting yourself at risk here. We have about 170 registrations, my friends. So not sure if you want to share your email with everyone. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. So really, you can do it. Oh, one more question. Awesome. So anyone who wants to go, you get the recording. So feel free to leave. I know it's been a long webinar, and some of you have to leave. I'm mother of 3 kids under 11. Oh, you will be busy. Full-time job and dabbling in a demo account. That's good. Well done, you. I feel lack of time is my biggest challenge. I can get that. Anxiety. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, young man. I feel lack of time is my biggest challenge. Anxiety of losing is my second challenge. I'm not surprised. I wake up at 2 a.m. to trade the London session. I'm very motivated. Oh, thank you. I'm very motivated by your webinars. I'm so happy to hear that. Oh, you know what? So you say I'm your role model and you're looking forward to be successful like me one day. I can tell you, I do not, and I did not have 3 kids under the age of 11. I had it so much easier. However, I know mothers who do have kids, who are single mothers, and they also have grown, and they're so far on their journey already, and that's how I know you can do it too. How about send me an email, and I will give you some more detailed feedback on what your next steps could be, okay? So that you get to get off the demo account. Also send me which country you're from, because it's very country related. Good. Well, thank you again, everyone. Unless you have another question, as I said, I'm really happy to answer your questions. As I said, my favorite saying, every successful trader had a dark past, and every losing trader has a bright future. And though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start again from now and make a brand new ending. On that note, I wish you all the best, guys, and a Merry Christmas. Um, okay, thanks. Got it. Bye.